today to be talking to you about something that I'm really passionate about, which is how we can make search, and in particular SEO, more central to decision-making processes. So I know you all know this, but let's just remind ourselves of just how important we are. So organic search drives over 50% of global website traffic. Now, that's huge. That's more than any paid marketing channel put together. There are 3.5 billion searches conducted on Google every single day, which is more than any paid ad space you'll ever have, or a bigger audience than any high street store. And finally, huge success has been built purely off the back of organic search performance, with industry leaders, Travel Supermarkets, Skyscanner, ASOS, just to name a few people who have succeeded just because they're really, really good at organic search. But I still find that as SEOs, we're quite often sidelined in big business decision processes, especially when it comes to strategy and budget. And why is that if you think of all the impressive numbers on the previous slide? I've come up with 3 reasons that I think it is. 1, there are some people out there in digital marketing who are proving their value really, really well and making themselves central to decision-making processes. 2, we as SEOs can be known to be notoriously bad at reporting on our value, and we need to learn to report on it better. And 3, people are almost totally unaware of the valuable insight we sit on as SEOs that can help lead strategy in businesses. So let's start with people who do it really, really well. We all know who the champions are in the digital marketing team when it comes to proving value. Paid channels and social take time to reflect on what they're delivering, communicate it to the wider business, and celebrate their successes. Whereas as SEOs, I feel like we're far more happy in our own knowledge that we're doing a good job and don't really feel like we need to tell anyone else about it. But what that means is that this image is often a reflection of some of the marketing reports I've seen out there, where some of these channels are really, really celebrated as heroes, and SEOs can be often quite a grey, boring line at the bottom of the report that hopefully someone will read. And why is that? So SEO teams, and most of the SEO teams that I encounter, are still reporting on a last click basis. So that's fine, but all these other channels are becoming so much smarter at reporting on what they're delivering. PPC, for example, has proved that it's proving value up to 90 days after someone's clicked on their ad. So some people for PPC are reporting on a 90-day cookie window. It's also reporting on cross-device and the incremental value they have across different devices. And they're also added in a new metric now, which shows how much they're driving when people are researching online and then going into store and buying. So you can see when all of this incremental value is taken into account, SEO doesn't start to look so hot anymore. And it's not just PPC. Different channels attribute differently. So I've again seen marketing reports where 90-day cookie windows are being compared with 30-day cookie windows that are being compared with last click. Equal weighting attribution is being compared with upweighted first click, being compared with upweighted last click, and online single device channels being compared with cross device, being compared with the research online purchase offline figure. So it's not an accident. They've all got really smart, these other channels, display, PPC, social, at choosing the metric that's going to make them look best. And it's not an accident. Obviously, we all know a lot of them get paid commission on it, what they're either spending or what they're delivering, so they've had a cause to prove how well they're doing. But what it means is it's a total mess. And in this reporting environment, it's really difficult to get to the bottom of the value that anything's delivering. But what we do know is in this kind of reporting landscape where they're all outweighting each other, SEO is taking a significantly smaller slice of the credit pie than it should be. And don't get me wrong, I've worked across all these other disciplines in PPC and social and display, and I'm totally bought into all the metrics that they're reporting on. I campaigned around Clark's to make sure that we were reporting on research online, purchase offline for PPC, because of course PPC is driving store sales. But if we don't keep up with their really smart ways of reporting, then we're just going to look smaller and smaller and smaller in what we're driving. And it's not just anecdotal. Our friends over at Cubed Attribution have given us this really good quote, which says, across a number of their aggregated clients, they're seeing currently SEO last click sales being undervalued by at least 20%. Now, if you think about 20% in some of the companies and brands I'm sure you're all working across, if you're an agency or you're working and if you're working for a big brand, 20% can be hundreds of thousands of pounds or even millions of pounds over a few months that you're undervaluing your work by. So Why is it even important that we're proving our value? If you're proving big value to a company, you often get given a big budget. And the bigger budget you have, the bigger say you have. So, as SEOs, I know we're probably never going to be getting the same kind of budget as some of the paid media channels. We're not a paid media channel. But I feel like it's down to us as a discipline and as an industry to start educating people around businesses that surely your decision-making input should be more to do with how much value you're driving a business than how much money you're spending. And those are all just the problems within the digital function. So across people who should know what we're doing and the value of what we're driving. In the wider business, we have even bigger problems because not only are we not proving the value of what we're driving, people don't have a clue what we're doing. So more than once I've turned up to a meeting in different retailers and people introduce me as the girl who does some crazy dark art stuff on Google. So if they don't understand the value of what we're driving and they don't understand what we do at all, they find it irrelevant and nothing to do with their job, then of course we're never going to be central to decision-making processes. So, how can we report on our value better? We are lucky that we work in a discipline that does drive so much value, so the second we start reporting properly, our value will naturally surface itself. Obviously, the first step is comparing apples with apples. If you start aligning your analytics and reporting on the really great incremental types of reports that PPC channels and display channels are reporting on, this is a conservative view of what SEO will look like. In reality, it looks more like this. So this is real data taken from one of our customers anonymized, so it's from Tagman data. But you can see here the issues you'd have if you were just reporting on last click. So last click interaction here, you can see SEO is the green, is driving quite a bit, so almost 60,000 interactions. However, look at all the other green in the first interaction and the middle interaction. That's how much you're undervaluing your work by if you're not reporting on full par. And that's why PPC, so you can see PPC brand and PPC generic in the last click with the light blue and the yellow, even added together across all those different full par metrics won't compare with what you're driving as an SEO channel. And don't feel like you have to reinvent the wheel with all these different metrics. These teams have invested time, effort, money, working out the right metrics to report on. And a lot of them are relevant to the work you're doing, such as the research, online purchase, offline figure we discussed earlier, that Google's adding even into AdWords accounts. I think it's about a 10% uplift now, assumed store sales for mobile clicks. You can use that figure as an SEO, it's totally relevant to the work that you're doing as well. And don't just report on sales and orders. If you're reporting purely on sales and orders, then you're completely undervaluing one of your biggest assets as an SEO channel, which is that we're cheap. So if you start reporting on spend and cost per order, then you can start getting some profit numbers reported on. And that's when we can really come into our own. Because if you look at the sales figures here between PPC and SEO, again, this is real customers' data, they're driving pretty similar value. PPC has driven about £100,000 more sales. But if you think about every pound you're spending on PPC, you're getting £2.69 back for the business in this example. Whereas for every pound you're spending on SEO, so your tools, your content creation, your development time, you're still getting £176.41 back, which for this particular customer meant that if they got just 10% of their PPC orders through SEO instead, they'd be saving about £11,500 a week, which can obviously be added to your bottom line profit. And finally, once you've got really good at reporting your value back to the business retrospectively, you can start thinking about all the other smart things you can do as SEOs, such as reporting on future opportunities and leading strategy with the insight that we sit on. So, working in search, we have a vast amount of customer intent data looking at not just what people are searching for, but exactly when they're searching for it. And this is relatively untapped business intelligence. And this is an example of what happens when you don't make data-driven decisions. So here we have a retailer who their orders have been tracked against a demand for a certain product. So the pink line are the searches for this product, and the green line is the orders. So you can see for the first third of the season here, they've kept up a relatively good market share for the demand for this product. However, what happened was that they saw demand slightly taper off, so they did a panic promotion for that product and got rid of pretty much all of their stock. Whereas, had they looked at the previous year's search data, or even the year before that, they would have seen that there was a continuous demand for the rest of the season for this product. But because they'd not looked at this and got rid of all of their stock, they couldn't compete commercially for this product for the rest of the season. So it's not just us wanting to look good sharing all this data. If businesses don't look at this data we have, they can miss out at their own peril, and they're missing huge commercial opportunities. So this is another example of search trend data. So this is festival clothing mapped over 2 seasons. So already, just looking at the blue line there, you can start to take some insights, and you can start to see that the same patterns are occurring every year. And what you can use this trend data to do is to plan in a smart way. Like Zach said, everybody doesn't need to be running towards the ball and running towards the goal. You can identify on this chart when are the right times for the right channels to be getting involved in planning and executing a marketing campaign. So when you need to plan and publish your content before demand, when you need to lap up all of the opportunity when demand just starts ramping up before the peak purchase period, when CPCs are still relatively low, and when you need to go all out and advertise at the peak period, and also identify the right time to discount your product and not too soon before. And also in this particular example as well, identify when you're going to just need a consistent landing page all year round, because there is always some kind of search demand for it. But obviously looking at retrospective data isn't that useful for businesses that forecast and plan on a 6-month to 2-year basis. So what we've done here is mapped 4 years of search trend data and used it to forecast 2017 and 2018, what we think might happen in the beauty online industry. So not only can you use these charts to look at the peaks and troughs of when you should be planning your marketing campaigns, you can also use it to identify huge industry shifts. So for example, one of the light blue lines, makeup, is the 4th biggest search term group in 2013, but last year it was by far the biggest. So huge shifts in the industry like this are going to be important, not just for you to plan your marketing campaigns, but also for trading teams, merchandise teams, buying teams, category teams. It might change the whole human resource and setup of your company. So if you start sharing these kinds of business strategy insights to your business rather than just technical SEO information, you'll suddenly start to become the epicenter of business intelligence, and you're feeding all of these other teams with the insight that can help them make their jobs do better. So you're leading from the top rather than following from the side. So the key takeaways from this talk are: make sure your analytics are set up to compare your channels in an aligned way. Don't just think about sales, remember to think about profit. That's where you're going to look really good. Work in synergy with other disciplines, both within the digital marketing function but also with the wider business. And inform and dictate from the top rather than following pre-made decisions. And I'll leave you with a flowchart of the theory and an example of how to do this, which you can find on SlideShare after the talk. If you have any questions, feel free to come and speak to me, or any of the Pi team in the lovely blue t-shirts.